Welcome back, everybody. Today we are talking through an update of Luna. We're going through the aftermath of what happened a few days ago. We're going to be more talking about what's next and what the response was from Terra and where do we go from here. If you want more of an overview of what actually happened, I did a video on that a couple days ago, which I'll link to this video right here. So let's hop right in and waste no time. First of all, obviously, if you've been watching this, I mean, just an incredible downfall from when we depegged. We're looking at, almost an 100% decline. We're now at, a fraction of a cent. Really nothing much there. And like I said, we described this in my earlier video, but it essentially became a bankroll race to the bottom. And Terra just could not keep the peg. So people kept swapping out for different stable coins. That lost obviously a lot of the value on the UST side. And then it kind of spiraled out of control from there, forced Luna to sell some of the Bitcoin to try to repeg, drop Bitcoin, and force more sell pressure on Luna, the actual coin itself. But looking into what they're actually proposing to do. So late yesterday or early this morning, Kwon, which is the founder of Luna, came out with this kind of emergency proposal to try to reclaim the peg. It's going to be a long process, he said, but immediate action that's going to be taken are these three items. So first of all, there's going to be a proposal to burn the remaining UST in the community pool. That's about $1.4 billion to my knowledge. Then they're going to burn the remaining 371 million UST cross-chain on Ethereum. And then they're going to stake 240 million Luna to defend the network from governance attacks and other attacks on the validators. So they do have a plan. They've written it out. It's just very interesting to see the response from the crypto community because it's going to take a lot to build this trust back. And the big thing that happened today is that the Terra blockchain was actually halted. So this was just a few hours ago. Terra validators decided to halt the Terra chain to prevent governance attacks following the severe Luna inflation and the significantly reduced cost of an attack. So that actually was halted for a couple hours. And then recently, I think this maybe was 3 hours ago, or so, the Terra blockchain resumed block production. And so now the validators are able to kind of resume. And the one thing, though, that I did notice is that some people were saying that it's still not working in the comments. I don't know if that's totally true. I haven't really checked on that. But you can just tell that people are getting exhausted, after mistake here with what Luna is doing. So definitely something to touch on there. The other thing I wanted to mention is that Kwon did release, an apology semi-plan for what's going to happen. Again, he very eloquently, very intelligently laid this out. He talked about how there's still a lot of bad debt in the Terra ecosystem. So this, for example, with the current on-chain spread, peg pressure, and UST burn rate, the supply overhang of UST, which is i.e. bad debt, should continue to decrease until parity is reached and spread heals begin healing. Now, that sounds positive, but that's the only way that they actually return to a peg. And no one has any idea of how long that would actually take or if it's even possible, right? So it is a plan, it is an idea, but there's nothing to say that this is going to be exceptionally successful. And the other thing to note is that he's not getting great feedback on this tweet. I think people were more so expecting somewhat of a apology or somewhat of more recognition of what was done for all of these, people who lost a ton of money. It just seems like a lot of people are pretty fed up. But at the same time, nonetheless, a pretty good, well-written tweet by Kwon. If you want to check that out, just visit his profile. He did a great job kind of laying out what the next steps are, at least. But now that we've talked positively about Kwon in the last 48 hours, a lot of negative stuff has been coming out, not only about him, but also about Luna. Now, some of these things are still rather unverified, more so rumors, but some of these have actually been confirmed true, which sketches me out a little bit. I tend to think if something smells like it, it is, right? So here's the first one. First of all, Kwon was apparently behind an earlier failed stablecoin called Basis Cash. And so this was formed at the time under an anonymous Rick and Morty character, but apparently he was one of the founders and it failed. Now, obviously, failure is part of crypto, right? I mean, we're on the forefront of new technology, so it can be looked at in two ways, right? You have to fail to succeed on one hand. So, you can kind of give him the benefit of the doubt there. But at the same time, why wasn't he upfront about that, right? Why didn't he tell the community, hey, you're going to hear, I started this company Basis Cash. I started this stablecoin. It didn't fail. Here's what I'm doing different with Luna, and address that up front, right? It's a little bit sketchy that he wouldn't have mentioned that right off the bat. So I think that's also kind of causing people to stay away from Luna and kind of not really give it a second chance. The other thing that I saw breaking, and this is, if true, this would almost be the nail in the coffin for Kwon, but apparently, now this is according to a Korean citizen who looked at the Korean government filings for corporations, for LLCs. Apparently, this Terraform Inc., which is the company that owns TerraSwap, owns Terra LUNA, Kwon's company. Apparently, it was dissolved on April 30th and then finalized May 4th. And apparently, it was done by Kwon. So now, what that means is that he essentially could have seen this coming and saw something going on, but never alerted people in the community. Now, if this is true, I don't think he ever makes a comeback. And I don't think anyone would, right? And, obviously this is in Korean, so a lot of people can't understand what it is, especially in America. But there are a couple accounts that have started to translate this, and it really does not look good. I don't have the time to kind of go through each one of these columns in full. But I'm happy to link the tweet in the description below if you guys are interested. Long story short, it does not look good. It looks like this actually could have happened. But it's really, really interesting to see if this actually happened. I think that's almost game over for Kwon and for Terra LUNA, because the trust would just essentially be wiped out with that action, right? So the last thing I wanted to note, which kind of counteracts this idea that he dissolved the company earlier, is we talked about this kind of conspiracy rumor last time that BlackRock and Citadel borrowed BTC to swap to UST, started shorting both of them. And as they dumped UST, they knew that Kwon would have to sell more Bitcoin, so they kept gaining money from the short. This is kind of the long form description of that. Charles Hoskins actually tweeted that out, the founder of ADA. And then actually deleted it after about 4 or 5 hours being up on Twitter. So I don't think this has been confirmed in any way. That's probably why he deleted it, but still something that people are keeping their eye on. And I think, definitely something worth keeping your ears to the ground for. Now, the next kind of topic that comes out of this, right, is what happens to the overall crypto market? What happens to stables overall? We actually saw UST depeg by, a quarter of a cent or so. I think that's probably just some worry going on. I don't know if that's actually, fully something to be worried about yet. But now U.S. officials are having to start to comment on it, right? So this is today, U.S. SEC official Hester Pierce said we might see some movement around stablecoin regulation. Now, this could be, I think, long-term good for crypto. I think, we should have an open book policy. We should be able to see whether Tether UST can back all of the Tether that's out there with actual liquid cash. And so I think that's important moving forward. And I think that it also would help from any of this Luna stuff happening, right? If we had more regulation, obviously that would be a little bit more challenging for something like Luna to happen. But what's funny is that it seems like the U.S. is not really on the same page about this. So the U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said that the stablecoin market has not reached a scale to be a financial stability concern, meaning they don't think that the stablecoin market could actually affect the entire U.S. economy at scale, which is, maybe an arguable point. But if USDC or UST crashed, let's say they crashed at the same time, I think that you could argue that that would actually affect the entire U.S. market. So it's really just an interesting take. I think we're going to see a lot of ideas about stablecoin regulation. We're going to see a lot of backfire against Kwon and Terra LUNA. He's going to have to answer for some of these rumors going around. So I think we'll see that kind of get fleshed out. Again, if you want a full breakdown of what actually happened step by step, I did a video on that just a couple of days ago. I'll link it here. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you guys still holding on to Luna? Do you guys still believe in it? I mean, we've dropped almost another 50% since I've recorded this. It's been about 10 minutes. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. It's one of the bloodiest weeks in crypto I've ever seen. I've been investing in crypto for about 2-3 years. And it is just a wild week. So I hope you guys are all doing great out there. Remember, long-term mindset will all be good. And Let me know what else you guys want me to cover in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.